Morning. This is in regards to a recent tag swap that I got involved in at Mybutterflykisses. This was the March tag swap, and I believe the swap is finishing up on Wednesday, so I decided that I would go ahead and post a little tutorial to show you how I did make my tag. This is my version that's left. Needless to say, it's not completely the version that was sent out to the ladies that were my swap. So I wanted to sort of just give a little bit step by step on how this was accomplished. The theme obviously was Asian. There was a desire to have green, floral, a charm involved, a ribbon, embellishment, and I incorporated every one of those items into this tag. So hopefully those that did receive them or will be receiving them will enjoy them. This is a sneak peek. If you probably will not be getting yours till next week. But I just wanted to thank, number one, Arlene for arranging this swap again. And this was very fun. It's the first swap that I can officially say that I've actually participated in. I am doing Yola Beans bottle swap, and I've done some trades and some swaps that way, but this is, as far as creative things, this is the first thing I've done. So I wanted to take you step by step with this. This will be multiple versions, obviously, and multiple tapings, because I know there's no way I can get this step by step done in one 10-minute break. I just wanted to say, number one, I did use the number 8 Tim Holtz size tag. So you can see, actually, this actually was a smaller version. It was not the number 8. It was a number 6 tag. I started out thinking I wanted the number 10 or the number 8s, but they just were too big, so I ended up going down a size and used the number 6. So first step that I ended up doing was to get out my old dear box that I use for when I'm doing my glimmer mist. Took my tags in there and ended up using 2 colors to spray them with, which I'm not going to go into the details too much with people, but I do want to sort of share the technique that I did do. I ended up putting multiple tags in at the same time to do this technique, and I sort of, which you can't see in the background, when you see the tag you're going to see it and understand what I did do. In this version, I take the tag, put it in my spray box. I'm going to turn it this way for you. And then I put a piece of screening over it, and I don't think you can see this, but I put a piece of screening over it. You want to make sure that you get that screening down really light, tight to the tag. If you have to, put a weight on it or tape it down, whatever you have to do to make it stick to the screening, because if not, you're not going to get the desired. In this background, and once you get the tag, you're going to be able to see there is some screening look to the background. So I used the next 2 glimmer mists. I used the Lime Twist and the Sherbet. I always start out with my lighter color first, gave it some spritz. I ended up just sort of catching just corners of the tag because I want my primary color, because the color theme was to be the green. So I ended up getting mostly just the pink up in the corners and then the green through the middle. Most important thing is spraying this and keeping it down so that the screen will dry. And you have to have that good and dry before you can go to the next step. So I'm going to take that up to the side. I'm going to show you a tag that has been screen sprayed. It's a smaller version, but you're going to be able to pick up and see what I'm talking about. If you look at the bottom of it, let me pull it down till it comes in focus. Sorry. Maybe you can't see it. You can't see it. It's sort of one of those things that when you see the tag, you're going to say, how did they get that background to look like that? But it is going to give you this overall wavy appearance. Right now, at this point, it does not look like anything because I have not done the next step. Next step is to go ahead, once you've got that screened good and dry, I don't know if you can still see, you can see my shimmer on it. I've got some green and some of the pink. I then take my tag and I put it into a cuddle bug. And the cuddle bug that I did use for this process was the Floral Design embossing folder, so I'm going to show you that. And you do want to make sure you get that tag in there really well. You're going to have to fool around and see how you want it as far as where you want it to do. But you want to make sure, especially on this one, because we were to incorporate flowers, I wanted to make sure I laid my tag over the area that had some of the floral design. So I did end up putting it in there, ran it through my Cuttlebug, got an embossed tag, which is what this one is now. Hopefully you can see the embossing there. And then I ended up, the next step at that point in time was I did take some, actually I think I told you the wrong color on that first spray. It should have been Garden Fairy. But then I did take my shabby shutters and the Tattered Rose embossing, or excuse me, ink, and over where there's leaves I did those in greens, and over where there was pink I ended up taking those colors, and I'm not going to go through that because everybody knows how to pick those up, but then took my tool and went over the tag in those particular areas so that I could put some additional color in on those particular areas, and that's only on the areas that are raised. So then you're going to get a tag that looks very similar to this. I hope you can see the difference in the colors, that there is some pink and green, and I still thought, well, that's still not quite enough, so then I ended up overspraying it with my iridescent gold glimmer mist. So therefore now you have pink, you've got green, and then you do here have your iridescent gold over that. So that's pretty well got me my background for the tag. So once I get to that point in time, it was the next decision was to be made. How do I get to the next step? And the next step for me was I ended up stamping quite a few different areas. And actually, after I got done doing these, I wanted to, actually should have done this earlier, but it's sort of one of those techniques where you're learning as you go. I decided then at that time, what do I want to do as far as the theme? Because I've got to this point where I've got my tag pretty well ready. I ended up taking 2 sets of stamps, and I'm going to show those very quickly because they are older stamps, and I overstamped using my Perfect Pearls. I overstamped just taking this stamp, which is a script stamp, and along the edges of it I just took a little bit of my Perfect Medium contrast, and, or actually I don't know what you call it, but the bottle of items, which is this little Perfect Medium here. Embossed over that, or it didn't emboss, but I stamped my stamp into it, and then I ended up using the following Perfect Pearl colors. And those colors were Forever Blue, Berry Twist, Perfect Copper, and Forever Green. And what I did with those is, I'm going to show you the original tag again, is if you look into the side here, this is the green. I'm trying to bring that down so you can see it, get it in focus for you. This is sort of hard to do because this is backwards to do what I'm doing here. There you go. You can see how I did stamp in that corner. Then at the top I used additional stamp, and these are done in the blues and the pinks and the copper. This was a stamp that I also had, and if you look at that, that is almost giving you the appearance of a stamp showing it went through the mail. These stamps were very old. This is by Inkadinkadoo, called Tin Can Mail. It does not have a name. This one, the first one that I did show you, is a Hero Art stamp, and this was from 2000, so it's been around for a while. So at this point in time now, I now have my upper right hand corner and my upper left hand items now stamped. And to also get those set a little bit, one of the things they suggest is spraying them, so I did spray just a little bit more of the iridescent pearl or glimmer mist over the top of that, just to make sure those did set. Some of them were very difficult because if the card was embossed very hard at top, you could not get a good coverage on those. So once I got to that point in time, and I ended up getting my colors on that I wanted and got the embossment of the background pretty well done, then I went to my next step, which is basically, how do I get my lady to be stamped? This is another stamp that I've had for a long time. This stamp is by Stampabilities. It is no name on it. Wait a minute, let me look here. Asian Woman with Fan KR 1008. Also about 10-12 years old, had her around for quite a while. So I